I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, April the 11th, brought to you in part by Green River Posts. Green River Posts manufactures and sells the highest quality of fence posts through excellence in all their processes. Their goal is to exceed customers' expectations. For more information, go to greenriverpost.com. Also, Unionville Livestock Market in north central Missouri and Creston Livestock Market in south central Iowa. Both of them got some sales of note to be coming up here this week. Unionville will have a regular sale on Tuesday, April the 15th here, and then they will have a special bred cow, bred heifer, and pair sale coming up Saturday, April the 19th at Unionville Livestock Market. Included in there, they'll have the Whitworth consignment, 250 young black fall calving cows there. You'll like them. And then the Raymer Farms having 200 running age bred cows, pairs, and bulls for sale at Unionville on Saturday the 19th. Now up in Creston, they've got a regular sale here today on Friday the 11th, and then a special bred cow and pair sale coming up Friday the 18th. So a week from today. They've got, including in their consignments, the Jackson brothers got 85 big fancy young black fall calving cows there. So if you're looking for top quality replacements, be looking at Unionville and Creston Livestock Markets. Both of those be on DVAuction.com. Fed cattle and beef turning lower. Now we've had a wild week with all these tariffs and of course the board plunging late last week and affecting us early this week, and everybody thought the world was coming to an end. The sun's still coming up in the east and setting in the west so far, and I think the world has found out what kind of leverage that Donald Trump has and America has in trading negotiations there. But boy, it's sure thrown these publicly traded markets for a loop. Our stock market has just been, up and down and up. We've seen a mass exodus of positions in your cattle commodities. CME cattle futures, both live and feeder cattle, have just been, everybody's jumped out. Been the fastest decline in open interest that we've seen this year, and some are saying that it was the fastest decline in open interest in recent memory, as everybody just pulled out. So it wouldn't take a whole lot people to jump back in. Some people, speculators on the long side, some managed money there to take it back up. But we've just seen, we're just whiplashed to death here from this tariff talk, and it's just, people just need to have a little more confidence in our leader. It's just been so damn long since we've had a leader do anything. And so now we've got a leader trying to put us in a better trade negotiations here on our imports and exports, and it's just throwing the whole world for a loop here. But man, it's just been wild. Your June live cattle futures, they rallied 750 points from being down low before we had that 90-day pause speech from Trump until after that, and right before the close. 750 points, or $7.50 there. That is a big rally to have, guys. But it's just done everything is just wild and woolly, and I'm kind of looking forward to a weekend for things to just settle down, and hoping that we will settle down a little bit and have calmer heads next week. Of course, China, they're still thinking that they're going to have a trade war with us. Of course, they've had a war with us for many, many years, but we just haven't been participating in it at all. And now, whenever we're kind of grinding back at them, they're not liking it, and they just keep trying to resist, knowing damn well that they can't. There's nobody on the globe that wants to buy all that stuff that they make except for us. They're making it for us. And so, we don't have to have that stuff. Of course, you know, we like it. It makes some of the things in life a little bit easier. There's other places that make it. You know, some people get to worrying about China and thinking China is a communist country, people. Everybody there works for the state. They've just got a few people there that have placed themselves at the top and a few big money people up there. Everybody else is starving to death. You never hear of a big college team bringing in a Chinese player to play middle linebacker for the football team. No, those people are starving to death over there. Okay, they don't eat rice 3 times a day, every day, by their own account. That's all they have to eat. And they, you know, it's maybe gotten just a pinch better, but it's no good yet. It's a communist country over there. They've got sweatshops. Most of these little widgets that we buy from them were made by a little kid that should have the opportunity to go to school, but he doesn't. We can't feel sorry for them. Piss on them. You know, we don't need them. And we can do without them, and we don't need them in our trade near as much as they need us. And Trump even cranked it up a little bit more. It was 125% on Wednesday. By Thursday late, it was 145% tariffs on their products coming in. And if they don't want to come up to the table and renegotiate trade deals, just let them sit. You know, what's the leaders there going to do when they have to start, you know, closing all those factories, those sweat houses that they have over there? And, you know, and shame on us for supporting them. So, you know, we don't need them. They don't have anything in common with us. We're all about freedom, individuals bettering themselves. They wouldn't understand anything about that. But all of a sudden, these tariffs, that's a whole nother way for us to negotiate deals. You know, I'm coming to you from South Texas down here. Mexico owes South Texas 1.3 million acre feet of water that they have been taking from the Rio Grande. And that's a treaty going back to 1944, and South Texas has been thinking that they were going to pay us back this water for a long time. They don't want to do it. The water's not really there, so I'm not sure how they're going to get it. But this part of the country has been going through really bad drought here for several years. I mean, the you know, San Antonio and all these cities along even further south in Texas are wondering where they're going to get water just to live on. But Trump has insinuated that they may be getting additional tariffs in Mexico if the governments there don't decide some kind of a plan to pay South Texas back for the water that it owes them from a treaty from a long time ago. But, you know, that's a way that we can get some of these other countries to come to their milk a little bit. But let's talk about your board on Thursday. April live cattle futures are down $1.95 at $200.85. Just glad to have them over $2. June live cattle down $3.17 at $195.20. Back months on live cattle down $1.72 to down $2.80. Feeder cattle for April down 97 cents at $282.77. Of course, your index levels are falling fast, so they're going to get pretty close here before long. May feeder cattle down $2.90 at $275.30, and your back months on feeder cattle down $2.80 to down $3.32. May corn was up 9 cents a bushel at $4.83. Excuse me. Soybeans up 16 1/4 cents a bushel at $10.29, and hard red winter wheat for May down 10 cents a bushel at $5.58. Let's talk about your fat cattle trade. We saw a little bit more fat cattle trade, and it just keeps trickling in the northern plains. And even though some feeders in the northern plains have raised their asking prices, they let too much trade go by. It's not going to get higher. It's going to be somewhere within the range that we've seen this week, and it's going to be lower. Iowa sold 1,300 on Thursday. Before 2 o'clock, they've sold 8,100 for the week. Live prices in Iowa on Thursday range from $207 to $208. That's $5 to $6 lower or it's sure $5 to $6 lower when we talk about Nebraska. But dress sales, 328, that's $8 to $15 lower than last week. You remember just a week ago we were selling dressed fat steers and heifers as high as 345. Nebraska sold 7,500 cattle on Thursday before 2 o'clock. They've sold 15,100 for the week. They're not going to change the market, guys. Live sales in Nebraska on Thursday as low as 204 up to 208, and then that includes that $5 to $6 lower compared to last week. Dress sales in Nebraska from 327 to 330. Kansas didn't sell anything before 2 o'clock on Thursday. They sold 1,150 for the week. Texas sold 900 on Thursday, all at 204, and that's $4 lower. They've sold just a few more than that to make 1,000 head this week, but the market's lower on fat cattle, guys. The only fat cattle auction I could find was Sheldon, Iowa. Sheldon Livestock there had a little over 300 head of slaughter cattle. They sold conventional fed cattle from 203.5 to 212.50, and the program cattle fit within that range also. They had Holstein dairy fed steers from 183 to 189. Box beef cutout values fell hard on Thursday. They'd been kind of, just resisting any kind of pressure from any of the news or any of the tariff talk and all that kind of thing, and they fell hard on Thursday. Choice cuts down 357 at 334.29 on Thursday afternoon. Selects down 565 at 314.96. That's tough. Your slaughter through the first 4 days of the week, estimated cattle slaughter 463,000. That's 9,000 less than the previous week, and 17,000 less than the same week a year ago. Your actual slaughter information come back for the week ending March the 29th. Had your average dressed steer carcass weight at 944 pounds, which is gigantic. Talk about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services, of course that's Dakota Moss and all these agents that work right along him. They are your LRP specialists, and folks, look to them to counsel you on how to protect your grazing cattle investment as you go for us here later this spring and this summer. They can kind of tell you where your protection levels are at, what it's going to cost you, how much the government will kick in to help pay for that policy. It doesn't cost anything to call and visit with them, guys. You can find out more information at livestockriskservices.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance, working to protect your livelihood. Your real-time index based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states late on Thursday after your sales had closed, sitting at 284.98. That was down 60 cents. So we saw it stay up pretty good with early light receipts with all those crazy high receipts we had middle of last week. But then as we dropped more of those high prices off in the 7-day moving average, now we're succumbing to pressure there. Even your CME cash feeder cattle index is starting to get to that point, but it's always running a day or two behind. The latest available was 287.29. A couple of sales I want to talk to you about favors from my buddies. Rich Robertson in Crawford, Nebraska, here today on Friday is having a Selman Ranch bull sale there. So check it out. It's going to be here today on Friday. Then on Monday in Tina, Missouri, Tina Livestock, my old buddy Dwayne Penny is having his Penny Power Genetics calves at Tina. And so you don't want to miss out on those. Dwayne Penny is famous for making chicken salad out of chicken shit with a wore-out whip. And he's also famous for having poor timing on selling his calves. And that hasn't changed, evidently. But talk about some feeder sales happened on Thursday. Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas sold 2,300 on Thursday. The market was tough on most weights. Your 5 to 900 pound cattle sell from $2 to $7 lower. Your steers weighing over 9 or close to 9 and over sell $2 to $7 higher. Cows and bulls were sharply higher. I want to note that. A stick-out sale on some big yearlings there in Pratt was 73 head of 891-pound steers, bring $294.50. That's not any lower. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas had 3,600 there. Feeder steers were $2 to $5 higher. Feeder heifers uneven from $4 lower to $2 higher, but they're sitting right up there on I-70, and that's one of the places where we saw better demand on your northern plains there from your farmer feeders. But Farmers and Ranchers Livestock was your National Beefwire stick-out sale of the day. Look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central, and you look at your best tested weights here and follow along. They had 234 head of 4-weight steer calves. They averaged 448 at 416.24. 377 head of 5-weight steers averaged 547 with a weighted average price of 372.96. 278 head of 6-weight steers averaged 634 at 336.79. 437 head of the 8-weight steers averaged 856 at 276.94. And 372 head of the 9-weight steers averaged 949 at 259.84. Look at some of the heifers that were well tested. 317 head of 4-weight heifer calves averaged 457 at 358.17. 460 head of 5-weight heifers averaged 549 at 337.37. 240 head of 6-weight heifers averaged 645 at 299.26. And 287 8-weight heifers at Salina, Kansas had a weighted average weight of 832 pounds, weighted average price of $255.47. An individual quote from Salina there was 51 steers, weighed 898, right at 900 pounds for $289.50. I thought that was awful good. Some other individual quotes from around. How about Bighorn Basin Livestock Auction from Worland, Wyoming? We don't talk about them very often. They had 79 steers, weighed 646 at 358.50. That's pretty darn good. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas. It was 66 steers, weighed 823 and bring 303.50. That's all they ever brought, guys. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.